This has been RabbidLuigi. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Right, with that out the way, it's time for the after party.
So, bad guy taken down, game beaten and credits watched. What do you do now? Some games leave it there, some games let you play through again at a higher difficulty, and some games give you the opportunity to fight another boss or two. Not just any boss, of course. Hell, most of the time they won't even be related to the game's plot, but an endgame super boss capable of challenging the most seasoned of players. Hey, when you finish a game, you want some challenge to your bonus content. And by bonus content, I'm not talking about DLC. You can do that whenever you like, you don't have to sit through miles of credits to do so. It's alright for some, ain't it? It's perhaps not too much of a stretch to say that Mario games don't take many risks, at least not nowadays. I guess they've got lots of people that they need to please, so when things get quirky, they're usually quite understated. For me, you have to go all the way back to 1996 for the last time a Mario game made a really weird decision, where a boss from Final Fantasy turns up at the end of a Mario RPG.
Back in 1996, Nintendo were the kings of whatever they tried to do. Nearly. So it's no surprise a company like Square Enix or Squaresoft or just plain Square wanted a part of it. So they made the game which influenced Partners in Time, Super Paper Mario in general. And they may have put in a boss which had some Final Fantasy references in there somewhere. Just as, you know, wouldn't you? Might as well.
So yeah, everybody, meet Culex or Kulex or Sulex? Nah, that's just stupid. Whatever his name is, the allusions to Final Fantasy aren't exactly subtle. He looks a bit like Kefka when Kefka becomes a god. His battle music is very similar to Final Fantasy IV's boss theme, and he keeps rabbiting on about being from another universe. Either way, this is one hell of a reward for giving a girl some fireworks in exchange for a shiny stone. Whatever, Super Mario RPG is a weird game anyway. So here you go, have a boss of over 12,000 HP, more than the final boss of the game, moving it very comfortably into the realms of super boss material. Most of the HP comes from his 4 crystals that can also blast you full of powerful advanced magic attacks. You don't prepare, you die, it's as simple as that. In fact, I remember a time when Suplex was the undisputed hardest Mario boss ever before Bouldergeist, and before people realised that Cackleta's soul is an unfair piece of wank. I'll take an interactive memorial to when Square Enix were cool every day of the week. If you played Metroid Other M all the way through, firstly, well done, and secondly, what the hell was up with that final boss? Let's cut it short and say it was disappointing, but to its credit, it did leave enough space open for a post-game boss to ride in and steal the show. I mean, good lord, sir, let's go from 0 to 2000 in the space of a fucking epilogue.
It's time to talk about the difference between a story final boss and an actual final boss. The story final boss is the last boss within the realms of the story. It basically ties it up in a nice neat little bow. There's your villain, have it, lot of fun. There's your story. Fantastic game. The actual final boss of a game can have nothing to do with the story, it's just the last boss you fight. And in a way, it can be better than the actual story final boss. Should have incorporated it into the story, would have been wonderful.
PHANTOON, it's good to see you, buddy. Bringing back a somewhat decent boss from Super Metroid might seem a passable idea, but the single act of supersizing him makes this a fight for the ages. For all its problems, Other M did have some decent concepts for boss fights, but this is above and beyond anything else in the game. And the transition into 3D suits PHANTOON to the ground, filling up most of the screen with either itself or all these blue phantom eyes, all while smashing his way through any window in sight. Surely you only need to break one though, your standard common garden burglar knows that. I mean, this fight isn't all that complicated. You haven't got to try particularly hard to work out where you've got to aim your arm cannon, but it's a sense of scale rarely seen outside of a fight with Kraid. And I will always appreciate a nice little reference back to when Metroid games did what they set out to achieve. God, I miss that.
So, you have the final boss of the story, you know, it's the story's villain. Usually, not always. Then you have the boss after that in the post-game, which you can, you know, fight. It's probably very strong or hard to get to or something like that. But you also have a boss which happens after the end credits, maybe after the dust has settled, which is the true final boss. So it's like an additional boss, but it has some meaning in the story. It's got some relevance, and they're a bit different. They're a bit weird.
Honestly, I didn't want to include true final bosses because it implies that the game itself isn't actually over, so you can't exactly consider it part of the post-game. But even so, this is my video and I want to talk about ASURA'S Wrath. Yeah, there's spoilers on the way. Do something about it. ASURA'S Wrath ends with you falling to Earth with your brother-in-law to destroy a parasite that's infected the whole planet and threatens to destroy it. You do exactly that, and then finish the job in the planet's core. But hang on, there's more to come, but only if you go back through the game and get some S ranks. Fuck that, ASURA'S Wrath was fun and all, but I've got other games to play, man. I've seen the credits, so that means I can say I've beaten it on backloggery. But should you get enough S ranks, you unlock the secret ending. I'll cut to the chase by saying that this golden spider guy, who shows up at various points in the game, turns out to be Chakravartin, effectively the universal ruler of everything or something. He then steals your daughter and plans to cleanse the world, because that's what almighty rulers do from time to time. And I'm sorry, but this is all stalling because what you're here for is this. How? How did you do it? How is it physically possible? When you've got a game with bosses like the gigantic embodiment of violence who tries to finger you to death, or fighting your hedonist teacher on the moon while fucking Dvorak plays in the background, how do you manage to top this? Good fucking god, this battle is a sight to behold. Weirdly, it's not much more complicated than any other fight in the game, but it's a spectacle in every sense. You're fighting the creator of all things here, so maybe it's not such a surprise to see him throwing planets and stars at you, even making the sun go full supernova, which you blow up anyway. I heard you want cinematics in your battle. Take all the cinematics you can handle.
Right, so what are we talking about? What are we doing? What's my name? So at this stage, you must know where this is going. I'm pretty sure you know where this is going. I know you know where this is going. You know I know you know where this is going. And more importantly, I know you know I know you know where this is going.
Oh yeah, earning some massive points for originality here. I can go redeem them at the Call of Duty Center of Excellence. Real talk though, it's not like I've got a lot of choice for post-game fights in Pokemon. You beat the champion, go gallivanting off to some far-off land to fight some special trainers, and then spend the rest of your days catching and evolving Pokemon. This has been deviated from a few times though, most recently with the Delta episode from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And if Red wasn't chilling out over at Mount Silver, Zinni would probably get a place here. But hey, he who has no voice has plenty to say. I love this fight, you probably already knew that. Red ended up on top 10 final bosses, which was probably a mistake in hindsight, but I want no arguments for this one, he owns this kind of subcategory. This former champion and star of the previous iteration of Pokemon games serves as your final challenge at the end of Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Every time with Pokemon that are much stronger than anything else in the game. With one of the most balanced teams in all of Pokemon, especially in the Gen 4 remakes, you bring anything but your best and it'll send you to the bottom of Mount Silver in a heartbeat. Oh, and it snows in Heart Gold and Soul Silver because, you know, you look at this scenario and think, I don't think this is cinematic enough. We'll get Liam Neeson playing Red, Dick Cheney can be Snorlax, and we'll rake in the Oscars. We can't go wrong. Let's face it, people love boss fights. No more random enemies to fight or a level to leap through. Here's a one-on-one fight to test your skills at this game. So naturally, this leads to the boss rush, where the game stacks a load of previous boss fights on top of each other, one after another as a proper examination of just how good you are at this game. And they're everywhere, right? I guess people like them as a whole. Which brings me very nicely to Kirby.
Kirby treats boss rushes a lot like other games, but it has a name for it which has stuck through for quite a long time, and that name is the Arena. It's not the most ingenious of names, but it also gave birth to the True Arena, which is truer and more genuine than the old Arena.
The Arena turns up in a couple of games, but it's on the same kind of lines each time. More or less your standard run-through boss fights, maybe add a new boss here and there, nothing too revolutionary. But this trend was changed, not that much, but enough, by Kirby Superstar Ultra and the True Arena. All those other arenas can go suck a dick, this is where it's at, brah! It's a little trickier, less healing items usually, and also more exclusive, only 3 games have had one. It also brought along this guy. Oh no, that bar just got raised again, and it's by a warrior wearing hot pink. Galacta Knight showed up in Superstar Ultra and blew minds across the room, as first part of Meta Knightmare's final battle, and then in the true arena. Brutally unforgiving, and yet a properly satisfying optional challenge. If you put this much effort into fighting your way through the true arena, you'll both love this, and fear the shit out of Galacta Knight potentially wiping the floor with you. But it gets better, because he came back. Except now he's in 3D!
Help!
Now, here's the funny thing. Return to Dreamland's True Arena for the first 10 bosses is entirely randomised. After that, the rest area becomes gloomier and the bosses are given a set order. Hot pink warrior guy over here tucked nicely before the final boss. And hey, you'll see Galacta Knight here. Take him down to half health without too much difficulty, and then the guitars kick in. And you just hope and pray to whatever deity is listening that you can make it through, because if you've ever experienced Superstar Ultra's True Arena, you'll know just how much he makes you sweat.
This has been RabbidLuigi, and I know Kirby as a series runs with this theme, but how manly a colour is hot pink? I mean, Kirby has done it for a long time, but along comes Galacta Knight, and I need to go buy some eggs, because the cake's just been taken. Holy shit!
What topic do you want to see on the next top 5? Leave a suggestion in the comments below and follow me on Twitter, or I'll be taking my favourite suggestions and putting them to a vote over there. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Goodness! Hey guys, how are we doing? That's the last top 5 for the month, because next week is the turn of the end of month, nothing to do with voting top 10. Still, feel free to leave suggestions for topics for a top 5 though, I'm gonna need them in March. Anyway, be sure to keep yourself busy, there's plenty on this page which can do that. Just thought I'd throw that out there.